Hi, I'm DVS and today I'm going to show you a dungeon run of Kel'Volreth. Get this clip going. Here you are. So we're going to start off with Gron, the Corpse Maker. And he's a very easy boss. You can have a few troubles with him, but he's kind of like a one-trick pony. He doesn't do anything really ooh or wow or flashy. Once you really understand him, which most people can figure out the first attempt, he's super easy. All you need to do, really, for this boss, you put a tank in front of him, and then the tank sits there, and the DPS attack from the side because Gron actually attacks from the front, but he also has a kick in the back. So if you do stand on the back side of Gron, he will like kick you. So let the tank sit, get the aggro, sit in front of Gron, have DPS constantly attacking him from the side, and then have your healer, if it's like an Esper or a medic usually have to go a little bit closer, just sit a little bit far back so you're avoiding the telegraphs and you can just constantly heal the tank. He's pretty much a very simple boss. There's two abilities you might want to make note of. He has a charge, which I've been noticing doesn't go to the high aggro. It actually kind of picks where it wants to go. I've seen it gone into the healer. I've seen it gone to a random DPS, which was generating very low amount of threat. So I think it's kind of like it picks and chooses, and it's like a dice roll. It's random. And the second one, it's kind of like this kick up ability where he launches slots of rocks up, kind of counterclockwise in a big circle, and if they hit you, they do a significant amount of damage. It is a knock up, and I think the whole purpose of it was to knock you back into these bone spikes you can see here. And if you do land into these traps, you will be locked. You'll be stunned. You can't do anything. You got a CC breaker. You can use it on that. You just gotta tap F pretty fast. That's why the best thing is to have your tank actually pull Gron into the middle so you can avoid these at all times. Actually, and I'm just going to turn the sound off. There we go. So yeah, this is a full DVS group we got here. I'm the tank. We have a healer, and it's medic healer. I do prefer Espers actually as a healer because they can pretty much put heavy heals on you. If you're really taking a severe amount of damage, an Esper can just go boop 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 and heal you all the way back up. I like the medic. Medic is perfectly fine. As a tank, if you're fit outright, you should not be taking large amounts of damage. They should be very gradual. Like, if you're a tank and you're not taking gradual hits, that usually means you're not supposed to be in that ability's telegraph. But you can see here, I'm taking every telegraph to the face, and I'm doing perfectly fine. And this is like a medic heal. This isn't like a massive heal. This is more of like a sustain heals, which I actually kind of prefer. But having the Esper, you can never go wrong. So yeah, this is the slot knock up I was telling you about. It doesn't really shoot you back that much. You only get knocked up really a bit. Nothing really to worry about. And the one thing I always do, especially when I'm going against Gron, is that I have Gron facing me all the times because I am pulling aggro. But what I try to do is I try to lure him towards the edge so that when he's facing me, he's facing the edge. That way the DPS, and if the healer needs to, they can stay around the side and be safe from falling into these traps. If I fall into the trap, I'm still going to have aggro. As you can see here, I'm pulling on threat meter. He's still going to be attacking me, which is perfectly fine because as long as I'm getting a constant supply of heals, I'm a meat shield. And that's what a tank's all about. So yeah, there's that slot ability I was talking about, the big knockup. And then boom, dead. Not really that hard. I'd say 90% of the fight pretty much relies on your tank. If your tank's suited up, he's fine. And then I'd say the next 10% really focuses on the healer. The reason I say the 10% is because it doesn't matter if he's a medic, it doesn't matter if he's an Esper. If he's a bad healer, yeah, there's a big difference. But most healers, they can just sit there and just throw heals at you with this boss very easily. If they're running around and trying to dodge stuff, it's there's no point. As you saw right here, you as a tank barely have to move. I think I was just spamming my abilities the whole time, and I was pretty much healing myself with my repair bot, which is okay. Like, if you run in potions, you have your repair bot, you got your absorbs, you even have abilities that increase your deflection chance. Really, the healer just has to periodically heal you. You should be able to sustain yourself. And if you know how to dodge, you're mechanically sound, you can avoid pretty much every telegraph. But with this boss, it's just better just to take the telegraphs, just take the damage to the face, because it's gonna help out your team. Really nothing to have to be worried about. So we will go to our mini boss. Now, the mini boss, which you're about to see, does not always spawn here. It's the Dark Witch Gurka, or Gurka. It's a weird name. She doesn't actually always spawn here. I think, out of running this dungeon 5 times, I've probably seen her 3 out of the 5. She's usually replaced with the what are they called? The enslaved protectors, the big robot guys. I have seen her with Necro. I've seen her with the Necro. I don't really know how the mini bosses work in this game. I guess mini bosses are supposed to be the thing where you're like, oh, I hope the mini boss is there because they drop good loot. Because I do get really good loot, really good loot from the mini bosses. But anyway, besides loot, this particular one is very easy. This AoE you see right here, this telegraph, this is the main thing you have to dodge. This is where most of the damage is going to come out of. And me as a tank, what I really try to focus on is to stay as close to her as possible. Not really trying to leave the whole area, like going all the way back here. I try to get myself into these V slots, because when you're in these V slots, you can constantly keep on generating your aggro, because you can be very close right here. But what you'll start noticing is that there will be secondary telegraphs right here, these kind of circles. All you have to do is wait until they start generating, and once you get to this part, dodge roll. Spikes will pop up for about a second, and you can go right back into place. And as long as you're kind of like bouncing between side to side or back to forth like I am, you pretty much just move a dodge roll away. You're still applying DPS and aggro generation. I do believe this time running her. No, we kill her. Yeah, we kill her. We don't wipe. She is known to be able to completely kill off a whole group by herself if you're not expecting that large AoE damage. Like look at all the damage that she's just doing. She puts out so much damage. It's a good thing too that we have 3 medics, because with 3 medics they can do damage and they can heal at the same time. That's why if you're running a dungeon, the best kind of setup that I've really noticed is 2 medics, a stalker, a tank, and then your choice of a spellslinger, an esper. Maybe you want to get 3 medics in there, like we have, and have tons of cleanses and heals and damage going on. So yeah, not too hard. Another simple thing to deal with. You really have to just dodge one huge telegraph. Now this telegraph you can't dodge. I don't care how fast you are, you just can't dodge it. The only thing you can really do is prepare yourself and heal yourself up to full. And yeah, she's dead. So going on to the next thing. Where are we at? 1750. And this particular mini boss is known to drop really good loot. So if you see her, kill her. Don't try and pass her. She will drop good loot. Now, moving on, just before the Slave Master, I like talking about these guys. The Enslaved Protectors, very easy to kill. But this is the one thing I want to talk about. Running this initially, I had no idea, nobody actually knew I had any idea, of this particular telegraph. Now this telegraph will insta-kill you. I've seen warriors that have been built to tanks just completely not notice this whatsoever and just die. I think it's because everything's green and it's really hard to see. But if you see this guy kind of like stop and like put his arms back, get the hell away, because this thing will just pop you. It will kill you. And also, if you are the tank, just get aggro of all three, and the prime target is just the protector, because the probes, once the protector dies, the probes will just disappear or self-destruct. So yes, going on to the actual slave master fight. I love the slave master fight. It is one of the I say the third funnest, besides the shaman in the exile dungeon and the forge master in this dungeon. Third funnest fight. So right here we're getting prepared for it, and we're going in. Now with the slave master, he's very predictable. His phases are kind of like textbook, they never change, so they're always the same. And this first phase is just you go in and you DPS him down, and he's going to do this recall type of thing, and all these probes are going to come out. And the main objective is to wait for the last probe to come out right here, and you just burst him down. You burst him down as fast as you can. The reason why is that you'll see this timer start to deplete, and they're actually going to detonate and blow up. Now if you kill them this fast, you see how we're missing all this damage? Well, that damage, if you actually do get into that, will do 7k damage to you, to a tank. And that's 7k damage to me, like I'm the main tank. So it will insta-kill an Esper. So I am getting aggro, we're fighting away, and then usually, yep, here it is. We have third or fourth phase. No, it's third phase. Basically all this is, I like to call them totem poles, but you're tethered to this pole. First thing you always do if you're getting tethered to this, go to the very back like I am. Reason why, this wave that will gradually make your way towards you can't hit you. And this telegraph that he can actually put onto you when that wave's coming back, if you stand at the very back, that telegraph, that small telegraph, is going on top of you, very dead center. So when it goes on dead center of you and that wave is getting close, you actually have a lot of space just to walk through. That's why if you, as soon as you see that, back up as far as you can and just wait. Now that one telegraph, you should see him do it again very shortly. Oh, yep, he's charging up. Boom. Now this telegraph, you can see how it kind of starts in the inner circle, works its way in the outer circle. Well, if you get hit by this, you get knocked down, and you take damage. What you can do, so when you see this starting to develop, walk through it, dodge roll through it, run through it. Depending on when you hit it, you have tons of times to ignore this knockdown and the damage. Tons of times. I only got hit by it just because I thought you only did it once, but then I realized, oh, he does it again. And you usually tell when this is going to happen because he puts his fist on the ground, he charges up, and then he releases it. We're just still putting our deeps down. I'm trying to get back the aggro. And then boom. Here it comes. I believe this is the fifth wave. Now you see right here, a tracking beacon has been attached to Bodafet. Basically, you're going to have these constructs come out, a little bit bigger of the other ones that exploded. And they're all going to be attacking me because I've been targeted. Now each thing to do is stand in the back so your heals can keep an eye on you and have everybody else DPS them down. Now I have quite good range because I am a ranged tank. I can still hit them far enough from me being on the way back. But if you're being targeted, shout out because we're organized. We're all talking on TeamSpeak. I'm saying I'm being targeted, I'm being targeted, I'm being targeted. They all come back. They're healing whoever's being targeted next. They're healing me. Because I am a tank, it barely does any damage. But to an Esper, does a lot of damage. Lot of damage. So that's why if you're a healer, do right here. You see, I have my teammate hanging back here. He's completely removed himself from the fight. He's not taking that much damage. He has a medic, so he's trying to heal himself up. And he's wearing medium armor, so he's taking like mediocre damage. If you are wearing light armor and you're like an Esper or Spellslinger, you're taking tons of damage. Tons of damage. So he's doing this wave thing again, and I think I dodge roll. Yep, I do. I just walk right through it. And I'm just getting aggro. Or fighting him, and here's, I believe it's the 6th wave. Now, these actual constructs will not attack you. What they do is that they go in an area, they charge up, and they detonate. Easiest thing to do, have everybody kind of surround the boss in a tight group. Because these constructs will go to the general location of your whole group, and then blow up. Because what these are designed to do is actually separate you guys. This way he can put more single target damage down and have, let's say, the tank on one side and the healer on the other side, which kind of sucks. So yep, we're putting down the deeps, we're getting down even more. And right here, you see how most of us were kind of grouped up here? Well, they're trying to do that dividing factor where they might catch one person out on this side and they'll catch people out on this side. So as long as you guys are grouped up together, sorta, this should be no problem because I'm just gonna be, as the tank, my job, I'm gonna be leading the big boss away from these pesky mobs. So yeah, we're getting down to 10k health. We really don't care about these things anymore. We're just trying to put down all the damage, and that's basically all there is to it. Now, these waves, I have never seen them change. I've never seen them been switched up. I have never seen them have a slight variation to it. These are all very textbook. They're always one after each other. They're always the same thing. Nothing's really different. So there's really no big surprises from this boss. Now on to the Dark Witch. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Dark Witch don't sound like a boss or a mini boss. They're not. They're actually just a big, very scary mob that if you don't know one thing about them, you'll die. So here's a Dark Witch. Yes, it's kind of like a mini boss, sorta, not really, because I've never really seen them drop really good loot. The one that's named the Dark Witch Gurkha, she's the one that drops really good loot. This one, I can't tell if it's like a mini boss or you could classify it as a mini boss or like a strong mob. I really don't know. But there's a few things you should know about her. As you will see right here, she applies a debuff. Now, I don't know the specifics, but I know you will die. This debuff either amplifies damage or does damage to you. Because as you can see as we get this debuff on us, look at our health bars. You have 2 medics that are wearing medium armor, one of them is the healer, and the other one's doing like a hybrid between healing and DPS. And you have me as the tank, and we're super low. Just when this debuff first comes out, you just completely lose health. I have to look up more about it, but this is how we do it. If you have an Esper or a medic, have all of them run cleanse. Now, this is what I've noticed. If you're running cleanse and you're a medic, it's an AoE cleanse. Now, what you want to do, you don't want people, as soon as you get the debuff, dodge rolling back. You actually want them to stay close to the medics or to the Esper, because if you all roll back and then someone says pop cleanse, we got debuff, well, maybe 3 out of the 5 of you will get the cleanse, the debuff removal, but the one guy like me right here in this current situation is all the way like in the middle of nowhere. So I'm getting the full duration of this debuff. And luckily we have 3 medics, so I'm just constantly getting healed here, which is beautiful, and we take her down. And you can see, like, as soon as we kill her, our health bars just skyrocket. That's how much we were healing. Like, we were countering her damage to the point where when she died, my health bar just kind of went like whoop. So yes, if you have 3 medics, it's kind of OP, especially for running in the dungeons. I don't know much about the Spellslinger. I don't really like the Spellslinger. It does a lot of damage. I would actually kind of prefer to have an Esper instead of the Spellslinger, just because I know the Esper heals are very reliable. Spellslinger heals, they're okay, and the Esper damage is very, it's amazing. So if I could have a desired setup, it would be engineer tank, medic, a stalker, an esper, and then maybe a second stalker or a second medic. That's just me. I've been running these dungeons a lot. I've had a bunch of different variations, and I kind of like the stalkers. I like having 2 stalkers because stalkers can put out a lot of damage, and they can take a lot of damage, and they can get out of a lot of damage. So it's kind of that all-around dungeon running raiding class. The one thing though is that I prefer stalkers at DPS because if you have an engineer, let the engineer go tank. You should be like, make sure you're building tank by the way, because you're going to be tanking. Because if you're a stalker, stalker tanks are really. I love stalker tanks. I think they're great, but as a stalker, you can use your damage abilities a lot more effectively than an engineer can use their damage abilities. Because I found the engineer damage abilities, they're not as impacting like a stalker can. A stalker can put a lot of damage out really fast. Engineer, a lot of the things that do require you to put out a lot of damage really fast are kind of like channels. They're like 2-second channels, 3-second channels. You can move, but they're all channels really. So moving on to our last boss, the Forge Master. Where are we at? 3740-ish, I believe. Just put it there. Oh, dead on too. Boom, here we are. So, the Forge Master, as you'll see in this video, he has a lot of phases. I really like this fight. This is my favorite fight. Like, how can you not like this? Look at all the mayhem, the explosions, the fire, all the telegraphs. Oh, this is what a boss fight should be. Like, this, in my opinion, is how every boss fight should be played out as. You, it's just so much going on. Like, yes, this part, if you have done this and played this part, it's very easy. Like, I'll just continue rolling and talk over it. You can kind of like screw around and like dodge roll like in and out of stuff before the hits. It's very, very easy. And then he just walks right out and he just starts doing the damage to you. Now, if you're running an engineer, especially if you're running like only 2 threat generation abilities like I do, make sure that you're constantly putting out damage, and by damage I mean threat generation, because if you have a medic or you have a stalker and they don't give you, let's say, 5 seconds of generating threat, you're going to be contesting most of the time for aggro. The best thing to do on Forge Master or most bosses, just give the tank 5 seconds. Give them 5 seconds to use his burst so he can get tons of aggro generated, and that way when the stalkers and your other DPS start attacking, he can throw out his support abilities, decrease in aggro, and then catch back up. Because right now, as you can see, I'm in a really good spot because I was able to get that aggro start generating really fast, popping my stances and everything. And I have a really nice buffer. I have a almost 10k buffer. Alright, here's my favorite part. So, when you see the Forge Master actually retreat back to his anvil, he's going to do this huge AoE Saw Blades maneuver. Now, what you should be saying, if you're all in TeamSpeak, Skype, whatever it is, you should be saying, Forge Master going back to anvil, run back to start. And by saying so, everybody's going to know because you've probably run this dungeon before. Or maybe if they haven't, it's very simple and they're like, okay, I'm going to run to the very starting. These saw blades are going to come out, and because they're all the way back here, they're actually wedging to the point where you could just walk up right here, dodge to the left a bit, and then walk up the other wedge. It's so if you know this is going to happen and you've done it before, it's very hard to get hit by these things. Like I just kind of just stand here. I'm actually taking damage by these blades just for fun. Cause I knew I was recording, and I was like, for namesake, I wanted to show how much damage they could do. But this is the next topic I want to talk about. So you saw he was generating a big telegraph, and this telegraph I like to call the death to the tank. And the reason is that these fire geysers, if you get caught in this, it's not the initial damage that kills you, it's the prolonged damage after a second half. It will kill you. I mean, full shields, full healths, not even a second, maybe a second, but it's so quick, you just instantly lose your shields with the initial, and then it'll proc right after, taking about half your health. It'll prop again, taking you down the other half of your health. Now, when I say half, I don't mean like legit a half. I mean like maybe 35% or 40%. And I think it's about around proc 3 for most tanks. If you have 10k health, it will kill you. So insta hit, one proc, second proc, third proc, you're done. So as soon as you see that big telegraph, get out. I don't care if you have no dodge rolls up. Walk, run. I don't care if you have to run through him. Just get out because you're gonna die, and then you'll have to wipe. So yeah, here we go. What I'm trying to do too at the same time is that this is the part when he does this big geyser thing. Oh, here we go. I didn't expect he was about to do that. So as you saw when he went to the anvil, he's throwing out these flame discs. He does it again. But this time, it's not just flame discs, it's the whole orb thing. You have to collect the orbs while dodging these flame discs. Now, the saw blades, flame disc, whatever you want to call them, super easy. They're like, I think they're just there as an effect, just to make it look cooler, because they're so easy to dodge. You can just walk right through them. They'll barely hit you. If they do hit you, it's luck. But yeah, at this point, what you're saying is saw blades orbs, and that way people will understand that the saw blades are coming out and to collect the orbs. Just say saw blades orbs. Now, do I get caught? I'm just wondering. Because I do want to show you the damage. Do I get caught in this one? Yes, I do. Okay. So you saw how much damage that did to me. Now that's the least amount of damage I've ever seen it done to me because he didn't get any of those orbs. If he got like 5 orbs or even 3 orbs, that would have been an insta kill. I should have died on the first proc, but because he has no orbs, he is powerless. He does almost no damage. And yeah, we do get it. We kill him. We go, hooray! I try to get some Signs of Earth, and I'm like, oh, look at that. Kel'Volreth Underforge cap. I'm like, what is that? Turns out, it was a mini dungeon run that you put on your house, and I think it's permanent. It is badass. It was badass. It was actually Flexion that got it. Oh man, I was so jelly. I wanted that so bad. Even though I don't have a house on it. Because when I found out the house system was bugged, I was kind of like, well, screw that. But I would love to have that. I would have been so jelly. I would have pimped out a house just to go with the dungeon. That would be sick. Well, anyway, that's the Kel'Volreth dungeon run. I do have to say, it is probably my favorite dungeon I've ever run. Any MMO, any game. The fact it's a level 20 dungeon and it's one of my favorite dungeons I probably have ever run says a lot because I've run through WoW, I've won Guild Wars, but Guild Wars bosses were kind of like, they're okay. They looked nice, but they were okay. But yeah, this DVS Gaming, if you guys want to check us out in the actual WildStar beta, we're on the Pergo server, so you can join in, spam advice saying, where's DVS, where's Bodofet, and then someone will see it eventually, and they'll send you a whisper and they'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" And then you can be like, "Oh, I wanna, roll with you guys. I wanna do some dungeons during the beta with you guys." That would be cool. Even if you just wanna, just join up in a group and talk to people that you've never met before, because that's basically what we're all about. We play multiple different games, not just WildStar, and we're all about just a community, really. I think I've been talking to the same people for the past maybe 2 or 3 years. Yep. So once again, this is DVS Gaming. I'm Bodafett. I showed you WildStar. Good night.